Hello, it's Tom and Finn again, and we're here with chapters 25 and 26 of D-Day Dog. And Finn's a bit reluctant today, aren't you? So we'll see how long he lasts, because he's kind of got that mindset that he doesn't want to listen today. But unfortunately, unlike you, he can't just switch me off. He has to put up with it. Anyway, let's see how we go. Finn, come on, sit nicely. Stop. Calm down. Let's try it. Right. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay. So I'm just going to read it to you, I think, because he's had enough. To be honest, I think he has. Right. Let's go. Chapter 25. Once Jack's classmates had come back from the American cemetery and were on board, the coach driver began reversing out of his parking bay, waving to one of the other coach drivers and steering the bus towards the exit. Jack sat staring at his lap, still exiled up front with the driver. He tried again to catch Lucas's eye as year six walked past from the cemetery, but Lucas would not look at him. He missed Finn, his mum and his dad, and now he missed his friend. Once they were on the road, Jack looked across at the driver. I don't know if you can hear the dog carrying on, but he's on the floor. I'll show you. So that's what Finn's doing, instead of listening to the story. Anyway, back on with the story. What did you mean? Jack asked. The driver looked confused. Eh? When you said, I know, Jack said, what did you mean? The driver pressed his foot on the accelerator as they climbed up the hill. I know about war, the driver said, that's all. What do you know? Jack asked. I was in the army for 22 years. We dropped into the Falkland Islands in 1982. Parachuted? Jack asked. Yeah. You? Yeah, me. Don't look so surprised. But why? Jack asked. Why what? Why did you parachute into the... Where did you say? The Falkland Islands. The driver sat up straight and checked his mirror before moving out into the fast lane. Well, in a nutshell, he said, Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands in 1982. And the people who lived there wanted to be British, not Argentinian. So Maggie Thatcher, that was our Prime Minister then, sent a task force of ships and planes all the way to the Falklands to sort them out, which we did. How far are the Falkland Islands? Jack asked. 8,000 miles, the driver said. 8,000 miles, and you were with them? I was. The driver tapped the indicator and made for a left at the roundabout. Neither he nor Jack spoke for a minute. Jack could not believe what he was hearing. The old man had once been a young paratrooper, like Courtiel, like the others. What was it like? Jack asked. It was all right, the driver said. But what was it like jumping out of a plane into war? The driver laughed. Well, it felt like jumping out of a plane into the war, he said. Jack hesitated. It was a stupid answer. How did the driver expect him to understand if he just said stuff like that? He tried again. But what did it feel like? Jack said. I said. But why? Why did you do it? Jack asked. The driver stared hard at the road ahead. You might find out when we visit Pegasus Bridge Museum tomorrow, he said. Jack wanted to know what the driver meant by that as well, but he decided not to push it. He found it hard to believe that he was sitting next to a paratrooper, like the men who dropped into Normandy to liberate France. What did you say to someone who'd done something like that? Chapter 26. Do you want to come over and join us, Finn? Okay. Chapter 26. Back at the house that evening, the children were all exhausted. Jack went to sit with the teachers at dinner time, but before food was served, Jack realised that Lucas was standing behind him. You're allowed to come and sit with me now, Lucas said, turning to leave. Jack stood up, followed Lucas, and sat at a small table with Cassandra and him. Hi, Jack said to Cassandra. Then he looked at Lucas until Lucas returned his gaze. I'm sorry about the beach, Jack said. I'm so sorry. It's okay now, Lucas said cheerfully. Cassie's told me that there was a reason you did it, and you were doing it to be nice to her, so I don't mind because Cassie's my friend. If you're being nice to her, then it's okay, Lucas said. Jack looked at Cassandra. Thanks, he mouthed. Cassandra smiled back. The three of them ate in silence. Jack listened in on the conversations of some of his castmates, above the clatter of crockery and cutlery, a couple of chairs falling over, and shouts from the teachers asking for everybody to be quiet. But no one was talking about the American cemetery. Jack sort of wished they were. After what the coach driver had said to him, he was keen to know what it was like, although he didn't want to admit to it. After a meal of thick tomato soup with crusty bread, followed by dark and sugary custard pudding, the children were dispersed to write their diaries or play in the grounds of the house and the games room. Lucas went to write his diary with Miss Carn. Jack couldn't see Cassandra. He wondered if she was back under the apple tree at the far side of the orchard. Taking his diary, he walked out the house, then across the lawn through the warm evening sunlight. He found her there. She was writing her diary. You like it here, he said. Cassandra smiled. It's peaceful, she said. They sat together for a moment. Cassandra didn't mention what had happened on the beach. Jack didn't want to raise it unless she did. But he did want to talk about Lucas. I came to say thank you for talking to Lucas. It's okay, Cassandra said. You were trying to protect my feelings. The Syrian girl hesitated, weren't you? I was, Jack coughed, then changing the subject. So what was it like today? In the American cemetery, Cassandra said. Yeah. It was sad, she said. There were thousands of white crosses for Christians and some stars and domes for Jewish and Muslim men. So many, each for a man who died. How did you feel? Cassandra's face clouded over. Different things, she said. Sad, proud, envious. Envious? Jack asked. He couldn't imagine what she meant. Yes. Of who? The soldiers? No, not for them. Sad for the soldiers. Proud of the soldiers. What I was envious of was the French people. They still live here because an army invaded from the sea. Oh, Jack suddenly understood what Cassandra meant. No army had come from the sea to liberate Syria. I wish someone had come to help you, he said. I pretend they did, or they will, and that we can go home, Cassandra said. Jack nodded. He watched two ducks fly low over the tops of the trees in the orchard. The sun was going down, the sky changing from a bright blue to a deeper shade. The orchard was partly in shadow. I wish you had come to the cemetery today, Cassandra said suddenly. Jack didn't reply. And I think you will be sad if you don't go to Émile Courtial's grave tomorrow, she added. Jack breathed and sighed. He didn't want to think about Émile Courtial. I read about what happened, Cassandra said, to him and Glenn. Jack swallowed. Then you know why I don't want to go to his grave, he told her. So, in the next chapter, that is what they do. In the next sections, they go to the graveyard, Ronville Cemetery in near Caen in France, and Jack has to decide whether he's going to pay his respects at their grave or not. Thank you for listening. All the very best, and see you next time.